Welcome back to Real Estate Coach Uncensored. My name is Greg McDaniel.
And I'm Bernice Ross, and I'm very happy to welcome our guest, Aaron Wittenstein. He is an agent in White Plains, New York, and his Facebook group has over 61,000 followers. What's the name of your group? Because this is something that, agents need to be paying attention to.
It's Lead Gen Scripts and Objections.
Before today's show, Aaron and I were chatting, and he really summed something up that's one of the key fundamentals when it comes to handling objections. But Aaron, you have a technique where you are deflecting and not answering the question, and sometimes just not answering the question really works. But the thing I really liked about what you were doing is you said objections are questions that have been left unanswered. And what we want to do today is look at the questions that agents are facing that are having really tough problems right now. And we're going to show you how you can overcome them. So, Aaron, could you say a little bit more about this notion of objections being unanswered questions?
Any type of objection that you shall receive. How much do you charge? What is that? That's a question, right? Do you have a buyer? What is that? That's a question, okay? You've got, did you show the property when it's for sale? What is that? That's a question. So what our job as agents is to somehow answer those questions, all right? Because like I said, it's just left unanswered. And as soon as you're able to do that, you can handle that objection, move on to the next part of your script or your dialogue, and be able to secure that appointment.
The objection, I think more people are hearing than just about any other one. I think almost everybody in the country is having this issue. When sellers say, where do I go? There's not any inventory. Where do I go? There's no inventory. I don't want to sell until I have a house and I can buy. How do you handle that?
Got it. Well, Greg, I can assure you that I've never left anyone homeless, okay? Because at the end of the day, you want to take advantage of the top line value of your house. Is that right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But yet you want to get as good of a deal as you can while securing the best interest rate.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is, what we want to do is look to alternative sources of what we could do to make sure you're not left homeless. Are you open to a moving in with family? Are you open to a short-term rental, potentially a bridge loan?
Definitely not family. Short-term rental, yes.
Okay, great. And so guys, from there, what I just heard is he's a serious seller that's willing to do what it takes to get this thing sold. Okay. Because, this is one of these things where it's like, we have to make sure that the sellers that we're working with are serious. And by asking those series of questions, if they say no to anything, you may want to look at, how serious they are.
So there's another approach to this, and this is to use two of the iBuyer companies like Knock or HomeLight. What these two companies do is they solve the contingent sale problem. And how they do that is that they will qualify the owner of the property for a new loan. And then when that person finds a property that they want to buy, they will enable that buyer to come in with an all cash offer. And then they can complete the deal. They can stay in their house until their new deal closes. And then Knock or HomeLight will come in and fix the house up and then sell it. I'm not certain of the terms on both of them, but I know Knock for sure, if it sells over what they anticipated it was going to, the seller keeps the overage. But take a look at these two programs as another option to what Aaron just had. So Aaron, one of the most common objections we have is how much you charge in commission. How do you handle that?
So Bernice, how much do you want to pay me?
I want to pay you X percent.
Sure. I'm sure we can work something out. What works better for your schedule, late morning, early afternoon, or Saturday?
Saturday works for me.
I look forward to meeting you.
I love this really straightforward close. So one of the biggest challenges we've been hearing from agents is that when someone calls and they are thinking about listing, they're calling on a property that you got listed in the neighborhood. And the first question out of your mouth is the one that we've been talking about here, is what you charge in commission. And it comes down to asking them a simple question. Are you more concerned about the commission, or are you more concerned about how much you will net at the end of the day? First one who speaks loses. They want to know how I want to net more. I'm not worried about the commission. So if I can, so I don't have to say anything more. So and then you would follow Aaron's approach, did a great alternative choice close. He gave me 3 different days I could have an appointment. and then closed right on that. So very bulleted, spot on, concise, the great alternative choice close that he modeled. If you're calling on expired, it's one of the really common questions is, do you have a buyer for my property? How do the two of you answer that?
I wish I did. That would make both of our lives so much easier. Then I would ask the next question.
Awesome. You addressed the issue right up front and you came clean without a doubt. I do the exact same thing. I said, you know what? I absolutely don't.
So Greg, how do you handle that objection when you receive it?
What I do is I say this, you know what, Bernice, I don't have a buyer for you, but you know what? You can tell that I'm a master of aggressive marketing. That's why we're on the phone together. Let me do this. Let me put my battle armor on and I'm going to go to war for you. And I will find you the right buyer for your home at the price and the terms that you're looking for. Would that be okay with you? And then I leave it there.
And remember, the first one who speaks loses. So when you ask one of these questions, zip your lips. First one who speaks loses. Aaron, one of the really common objections that we're hearing from sellers right now, they're nervous about the market. They're saying, shall I sell now or should I wait? How do you handle that?
Let me ask you this. If I could get you a fair price within the next 30 days, would that pose a problem for you?
I'm not ready to move quite yet.
Well, let's say 180 days. You know, with that 180 days, would that pose a problem? You can kind of fudge that number based upon where they are to gauge where their interest is.
Well, if we could get the right price, yes, we're wanting to relocate, but it's not urgent.
Sure. So when you like the urgency level, would you say on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you place that? 10 being I got to be out now, 1, I don't really care.
If we can get the right price on our timetable, yes, we're interested in selling because we're interested in moving out of the state.
Sure. Well, the next logical step would be for the 2 or 3 of us to sit down and have a conversation. You know, what works better for your schedule, late morning, early afternoon, or Saturday?
Early afternoon.
I look forward to meeting with you.
You answer me if I said I'm not looking to move right now.
Yeah, so what type of time frame are you thinking?
Oh, maybe 2 or 3 years from now.
Got it. So if we were able to get you a decent value for the property, I don't know, let's say 3 to 6 months, would that pose a problem for you?
Well, I need for my daughter to finish high school here.
Sure. Well, how about I do this? How about we stay in touch? I'll give you a shout back 6 months to a year down the road, see how things are coming along, and we go from there.
Great.
So what we did with that one is we took it from like, I'm not looking to do anything to a follow-up over the next year, which should, if you do it right, cultivate new transactions in 18 to 24 months.
The next question that we're going to be addressing is one that you'll hear quite often from owners of expired listings. So I'm going to be the expired listing. Aaron, what would you say to me?
Ring.
Hello.
Bernice, Aaron, I'm a realtor. How are you doing today?
How did you get my phone number?
That's a great question. It's actually the same data service that I utilize to find all the buyers for my listings. I was just trying to figure out how in the world did your property not sell?
It's a mystery to me. My agent, I don't know what happened. They took the listing. I never heard diddly from them for 6 months, and we're still on the market.
Got it. So do you feel the realtor was the main reason that the home did not sell?
Well, when they don't call you for a long period of time, that's kind of an indication. I didn't like the marketing. They didn't seem like they were up to speed on the social media and some of the other things that other people are doing.
Sure. Now, let me ask you this. If the home was marketed properly, do you feel it would have sold?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So let me ask you, if we could get you a fair price for the home within the next, 30 days, would that pose a problem for you?
I'd be delighted.
Well, the next logical step would be for the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of us to sit down and have a conversation. What tends to lend well to your schedule, late mornings, early afternoons, or Saturdays?
Saturdays would be best.
Sounds good. I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with you. Have a great day.
So very bulleted, very concise. You know, the objection that we often get when the seller doesn't need, when the seller doesn't like the price that we have found from the comparable sales is they'll say, well, we can just wait. Greg, what's your take on this?
You know what I really try to do is I try to ask people, when it comes to the objection that they want to sell later down the road, I say, okay, that's not a problem. Help me understand kind of what it is. Is it business or is it personal? And then I do, from one of my old coaches, I go what they call 3 deep and I ask 3 more questions down and I just understand their root of why they're staying there. And then I put them onto a follow-up program and I just grow the relationship from that point.
Greg, that was excellent, because what you just suggested, what's holding you back, and I haven't heard anybody use that approach, but it's a really solid one. Is it business or personal? And then what is it? Is it an issue with someone's health? Is it a child in school? So forth and so on. Now, I have to give credit to where credit's due on this one. This is an old Mike Ferry script that I just have always loved. I've trained for many years. When the seller says to you, where were you when my property was on the market? And Mike would always say, I was working on getting my listing sold. That is what you would want if I were your listing agent, right?
Oh, mic drop. Aaron, write that down.
Okay, let's go on to our final one. And this is one of the most common ones. I know all three of us will have a comment on this. My sister-in-law is an agent. Aaron, I'm going to let you have first crack at that one.
Oh man, so your sister-in-law is an agent. Do you guys celebrate Thanksgiving together?
Well, yes, we do.
Okay, now I'm not going to say this is happening, but imagine it doesn't go according to plan. How awkward is that turkey cutting session going to be?
Oh, that would not be pleasant.
Exactly. So here's what makes sense is we should sit down and discuss. Are you familiar with what a referral fee is?
Yes.
Okay, I'd be open to offering your sister-in-law a referral fee if we seem to be a good fit.
So here's my take on this. When someone says, I have a relative in the business, or I have a friend in the business, you want to come back with questions. First of all, is your house the most valuable possession that you have? Most people will say yes. And I assume that you'd like to get the highest possible price for your home. Is that correct? And they're going to say, well, yes. Well, then what I'd like you to do is to compare my 16-point marketing plan that helps you to get the highest possible price in the shortest amount of time with what your sister-in-law would do to get your property sold for the highest possible price. Does that work for you? I know you want the best of all possible worlds, so you want to keep the peace with the family or friend, but on the other hand, I'm happy to pay them a 25% referral fee to make sure that everything stays smooth with your relationship. Does that work for you?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So to wrap up for today, Aaron, what's your most important takeaway for our viewers today?
Consistency is what you do. You're going to see results 90 to 120 days from now. So you practice, you script, you do anything. I don't care what it is. You do it. You don't do it a day. You don't do it a week. You don't do it 2 weeks. You do it 90 to 120 days, because keep in mind, you don't have to be the best. You just have to be the most consistent. Average your way to success.
And Greg, how about you?
The people you meet today are people that you're going to do business with tomorrow. So exactly what Aaron is saying. Bernice, what would be your takeaway?
Well, I would say for anybody who's listening, check out Aaron's group at where can they find you on Facebook?
Lead Gen Scripts and Objections.
Lead Gen Scripts and Objections. Check it out. And if you've got a tough script, send it to us. We're happy to tackle it, or let Aaron's group tackle it for you. It's a great way to improve what you're doing. Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next time.